Houseflies are an everyday visitor to our homes and kitchen. Sometimes they are annoying, but we mostly ignore them. But when that housefly takes off from your kitchen counter, something astonishing is happening right under your nose. In a fraction of a second, it pulled acceleration that would make a space shuttle pilot black out. Giant rockets that carry humans into space max out at around 3G. A humble fly can do better, several times better. But what physics of size, power, and acceleration allows this fly to out-accelerate the most advanced interstellar transports built by humans? And what that teaches us about how nature and human engineering play by different rules. By the way, I am Bashobendra, you are watching Science Station. During a space shuttle launch, the vehicle's initial acceleration is about 1.5 to 2 Gs. Then the main engines throttle to keep the peak around 3 G so that the structure and the crew can withstand it. On the other hand, high-speed video studies of fruit flies, houseflies, and other related species commonly show takeoff acceleration in the 2 to 8 G range when they push off with their legs and start flapping. More importantly, insects routinely survive and generate far higher brief accelerations. A housefly swatted in mid-air can experience hundreds of G and walk away. Froghoppers hit 400 G when they jump. The point isn't that every casual flight is like a 10G rocket launch. It's that the fly's body can produce and tolerate accelerations the shuttle was never allowed to reach. Here's why. Acceleration is force divided by mass. To accelerate harder, you either need more force or less mass. Insects win on both counts relative to their size thanks to the square cube law. Muscle force scales with the cross-sectional area of the muscle. Mass scales with volume. Shrink an animal by a factor of 10 and its mass drops by 1,000, while the force its muscles can produce drops by only 100. The force to mass ratio therefore shoots up. A fly's flight muscles can generate enormous power relative to the tiny mass they have to move. That's why small animals are the acceleration champions of the natural world. The shuttle is the opposite extreme, millions of kilograms of metal, fuel, and structure. Its engines produce staggering absolute thrust. But when you divide by the enormous mass, the resulting acceleration stays modest. Human bodies and aluminium airframes also have hard limits on sustained G forces. The shuttle was throttled to protect both. Conventional aircraft rely on steady aerodynamics, where air flows smoothly over a fixed airfoil to generate lift via pressure differences. If the wing tilts too sharply, the air separates, causing a sudden loss of lift known as a stall. Flies and other small insects deliberately operate in a permanent state of dynamic stall. Because of their small scale and high wing beat frequencies, they can exploit unsteady aerodynamic effects. As the fly's wing sweeps forward or backward at a steep angle, air rolls over the front edge and forms a tightly bound swirling spiral or vortex on the upper surface. This low-pressure core sucks the wind upward and forward, generating massive amounts of instantaneous lift. At the end of a wing stroke, the wing flips or rotates rapidly before reversing direction. This rotation creates additional circulation and allows the wing to pass back through its own turbulent wake, capturing energy from the moving air to generate extra forces. This process works efficiently only at low Renault numbers, a physics metric describing fluid flows where air feels viscous rather than purely inertial. Larger wings cannot easily maintain a stable LEV. The vortex sheds quickly, resulting in a chaotic, inefficient stall. Because their wings generate forces multiple times their own body weight within a single millisecond stroke, flies achieve extreme acceleration levels that would instantly crush or render a human pilot unconscious. But the real kicker isn't in the linear motion. It's when the fly abruptly changes direction mid-air. So, centripetal acceleration becomes important. When changing direction sharply, the centripetal acceleration skyrockets because the turning radius is extremely small. This can subject the fly to forces exceeding 10 to even 30 G, The lightweight, rigid exoskeleton of the insect withstands these forces perfectly without deforming. Executing extreme maneuvers without spinning out of control requires an ultra-fast control loop. True flies modified their hind wings into small knobbed structures called halteres. These vibrate up and down out of phase with the main wings. When the fly rotates during a turn, Coriolis forces deflect these vibrating knobs. Mechanoreceptors at the base of the halteres immediately detect this deflection, sending balance information straight to the motor neurons driving the wing muscles. Normal visual pathways take time to process images. To accelerate this, a fly's visual system is directly hardwired to its motor circuits. Large specialized visual neurons detect motion patterns instantly, bypassing deep brain processing to trigger reflexive escape steering. A rocket cannot scale its engines or structure the way a fly scales its muscles. Structural stress rises with size under the square cube law. Fuel tanks, engines, and wings have to be thicker and heavier. Humans inside need blood to stay in their brains, so sustained acceleration is capped near 3g for comfort and safety. Rockets also optimize for total velocity change over minutes, not peak acceleration over milliseconds. The shuttle needs to reach roughly 7.8 km per second orbital speed. Doing that with extreme initial acceleration would waste energy fighting gravity and atmosphere longer than necessary. The fly only needs to go from a 0 to a few meters per second. Its mission is short, explosive, and local. This is why insects look almost magical in slow motion. Their world is dominated by forces that feel weak to us: air viscosity, surface tension, electrostatics. But their acceleration capabilities are extraordinary. It also explains why engineers building micro drones and insect scale robots struggle. We can copy the kinematics, but matching the power density and structural efficiency of biological muscle at that scale is still very hard. The same scaling principle appears everywhere. Fleas and click beetles out-accelerate the shuttle by even larger margins. Small birds and bats are more maneuverable than airliners. Nature didn't build a fly to go to orbit. It built a fly to escape a SWAT and find the next meal. For that job, high peak acceleration on a tiny mass is the perfect solution. Size isn't just a constraint, it's a superpower. Physics doesn't care how impressive your rocket looks, it only cares about force over mass, and on that score, the fly wins. Thanks for watching.